Testing. Okay, this is not a call of the meeting to order exactly. We have something important to handle before that happens.
We're going to do the oath of office for our new counselor, Melissa Fonseca.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear. I, Melissa Fonseca, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my ability, discharge all duties of the office of Fourth Ward Council. Discharge all duties of the office of the Fourth Ward Council in the city of Marshalltown, Iowa. In the city of Marshalltown, Iowa. As now and hereafter required by law. As now and hereafter as required by law. Thank you. Congratulations.
If there aren't any objections, I'm tempted to start the meeting early. And for those of you who aren't accustomed to coming to these meetings, they can sometimes drag out to 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And we've had people sit here until then thinking it would be rude to leave. It is not rude to leave. So if you want to leave, you can leave now. If you want to stay, more power to you. And it's fun to have the people here.
Don't start early.
Don't start early?
There's a gentleman waiting for his brother to show up.
Okay. Okay. I can't say we've ever actually started early. She's in the middle. She's short, I'm long. Okay.
Come on in, everybody. Come on in.
Makes sense. Second hand on this one. It's got the forecast. I can do a countdown timer up, countdown timer down.
Did she? Well, I missed it because of the construction.
Okay, I think that's starting time. All right. Welcome. This is the official call to order. You are all here at 10 West State Street, which happens to be our Marshalltown City Council chambers, here for a regularly scheduled City Council meeting. We are called to order with those who are able. Join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Fonseca? Here. Kell?
Here.
Lottie Huff,
Here.
Mitchell. Here. Nichols.
Here.
Schneider.
Here.
Thompson.
Here. Very good. Full house and back to a 7-person full house, which is nice. I need to read this advisory to people before we open the mic up, and it is that public comments are welcome. To make them, you need to talk about something that was not on the agenda during this time. The speakers to approach the mic, state your name and address for the record, and limit your comments to 3 minutes unless a longer comment is authorized by the mayor. The speaker shall direct comments to the mayor and council as a whole, and the mayor and council shall not engage in discussion or debate on items raised by members of the public, and no action may be taken on those items in order that we may comply with the open meetings laws. At this time, I usually launch right into the next thing, which is mayor, council, and administrator comments, forgetting that we have an open mic, but the microphone is open.
Good evening, Council. My name is Scott McLean. I'm here on behalf of the Iowa Department of Transportation. I am one of 2 members of the emergency management team for the DOT. And everybody's aware Northwest Iowa had some pretty serious flooding a few weeks ago. On a Friday, we got a mission to go help the city of Spencer start their cleanup mess. And it's a mess. And if anybody remembers the tornado, the derecho, we lived it, right? Well, they were struggling, as we did, for the tornado. How do we separate debris? What's that look like? What's a fly? How do we get information to the public? I reached out to Kim Elder back here, because I live here in Marshtown. I had the tornado and the derecho both. But Kim was on vacation in Alaska, I believe. Yeah. And she reached out to Chris Cross, our fire chief. And within 10 minutes, I had documents in hand that I could give to the city of Spencer. Here you go. Change the name of the city, and we could go to work. So I just want to acknowledge Chris on the outstanding support, the help. The city's struggling. They are making serious headways and significant improvements, but without a little bit of help from sister cities, they wouldn't be in the same shape they're in now. We were able to move approximately 300,000 cubic yards of debris in 4 days, separated properly, because of some flyers that we got from our fire chief. So thank you for that.
Very good. Thank you. I love starting meetings on a positive note. Does anyone else wish to approach the microphone?
Hello, Jim Shaw, 522 North 2nd Street. This evening, at the direction of the mayor, I will not be speaking about my usual subject, nor will I be speaking about it in the future. I do not want to risk my attendance at future council meetings. I've also been told that I misrepresented the amount of money I donated to the dog park. After reviewing the YouTube video of the July 10th council meeting, I clearly stated that $4,000 would have been my donation if the park was named after my wife. But after that request was denied, I again clearly stated at the June 10th meeting that my donation was $2,000. There is also a rumor supposedly started by a council member that many, many years ago, I went to bars, goaded someone to fight, then beat them up. This is not true, and I have many witnesses that I hung out with at that time that can refute those statements. There was an individual who tested for his black belt the same day I did at Iowa State University. And after he got his black belt, he did go to bars, pick fights, and beat some people up. I can get some people to testify to that too. But I did not pick fights, and I even had discussions with him about giving black belts bad reputations. He ignored me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you. Hi, folks. Sharon Greer, 420 Hughes Street. First of all, I am so proud to be here tonight to watch Melissa's swearing in, and I'm so proud of the diversity of our community. So that's number one. Number two, I have an idea, and I've floated this by Joel a couple of times, but I don't know if it would be something you guys would be interested in. But we have people that just have, don't understand the landscaping stuff and cleaning up their properties. And so when they get cited and they have all these weeds and trees growing everywhere, I wondered if you folks would be interested in, if I donated some equipment, like shears and cutters and things like that, that we could have as a library, kind of an equipment library here at the city. I don't know if you have a place to keep it. People could come in, check out the equipment. They could put a check in to hold as a deposit, not to be cashed. They'd get it back once they bring the equipment back. And then they could just use it for purposes of cleaning up their property. And sometimes when people get cited, they feel so frustrated because they don't have the good equipment to take care of their property. Well, maybe the city could help with that, and then we could help sharpen it, once a year. But it's just kind of an idea I've been thinking about, and so if you're interested, tell the mayor, and then I will work on making it work.
You don't know how close I was to calling times up, even though you were only a minute and 25.
Linda Clark, 306 South 2nd Avenue. I'm an American citizen who speaks English. By some, age and ethnicity has been an issue. I also have knowledge of the constitutional republic and the state authority. Al Hoop assisted me many times starting in 1999. Mark Eaton, also a good neighbor resident of the 4th Ward, helped me and others over many years. No American should ever be forced to do anything. City Council rules of governance and city code will be good when hard copy available at the City Hall and public library as it was for many years. Thank you, councilors, for assisting with your knowledge and knew who to report to with my issues of safety on Center Street in the 4th Ward, which was a hazard in the street, and the compost issue. Some cities do not even charge for compost, and so we're always compared. And I would like to have some of these things addressed because I don't think it's appropriate that elderly people seem to have been maligned recently by some, not all. And those of you that helped me, thank you. And all of you, thank you for your time.
The microphone's still open. Very good. On to the next item, E, which is Mayor, Council, and Administrator comments. Typically, we do years of service. Anybody here to accept those? Very good.
Your Honor, if I may.
We're going to do the years of service first.
I'm happy to sit back down, Mayor, if you'd like.
No, go for it.
Thank you. I'll be brief. Hello, Honorable Mayor and Council. My name is Christopher Cross. I'm with the Marshalltown Fire Department. Just to give you a couple comments about the debris management plan that we were able to assist Spencer with. Chief Tupper and I and some other people back when the tornado happened were able to serve kind of on a it was an interoperable kind of a help team that would go from department to department to figure out what the problems were within each of the departments and help them kind of develop a path out of the forest so they get back up on their feet and start providing service to the community. So Chief Tupper and I and some other department heads at the time, I think we were sequestered in the library and we wrote this debris management plan. So it was kind of a neat thing to be able to share with another community. So I would like to call up Lieutenant Matt Gorder and Firefighter Cody German, please. So I'll reintroduce you to these gentlemen. This is Lieutenant Matt Gorder. He's a 20-year member of the department. And Matt's one of the most senior guys on the fire department. He's a line company officer and a leader. And great guy, super smart, has seen a lot. Always confident and comfortable when he's leading companies into battle with problems for people. And I would just like to congratulate Matt and thank you for your 20 years of service, brother. Appreciate it. This is Cody German. He's a firefighter and he has 5 years of service. I'd like to present him with this plaque. Cody is a young, energetic up-and-comer. He is a sponge. He makes good decisions. He's aggressive when he needs to be, super safe, and he's an asset to the department. So congratulations, brother. We're happy to have you. I'd also like just to give a quick shout out to Captain White and Sea Crew is on, so you guys can breathe easy tonight. They've got the watch, and they're doing a good job. Yeah, let's take a picture real quick here. Pose. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Very good, thank you. You weren't going to surprise them and make them have to give a speech tonight, were you?
They're not like that, boss.
I think I recognize Cody from being on the team that won the state for the stair climb contest. So that's cool. If those of you who haven't been here before may not know that we typically win that award statewide when they go down and compete. That's pretty cool. Okay, now it's time for council comments.
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
Saturday, July 13th, I went to an event. It was down at West End Park down at 13th Street. It was the first Pride in the Park celebration. I kind of want to give a shout out to the people putting it on. It was well attended, lots of people, displays, vendors, music. It was a typical good time. I believe Tay Bear helped organize the whole thing, and I certainly hope they do it again next year.
Thank you. Any other comments by councilors tonight?
If I may?
You may.
Yeah, I've recently, and I suppose all of us city councilmen have recently, from constituents about the mosquito problem. And like the mayor said, the sprays don't help. But I think if we would to start getting tall stuff mowed, eliminate their living areas, and that would considerably take care of the mosquito population in Marshalltown.
Anyone else?
Your Honor, may I?
You may.
The My Marshalltown Civic Pride campaign has announced that there will be a volunteer cleanup on Sunday, August 4th from 3 to 5 p.m. Help is needed at this property. It's on the corner of East High and South 10th Ave, 924 South 10th Ave. I was reached out being congratulated by a 4th Ward constituent, and she let me know that this property had, the owner isn't there anymore, and this property had been, had tall grass and rodents and just needed some help. And she reached out, and since I have the Beautifying Our Block project, I was like, I'm going to choose this property as our next volunteer event. And so we will have that on August 4th. It's bring BYOG, bring your own gloves, BYOW, bring your own weed whacker, lawnmower, trash bag. Just come, just anybody and everybody can come, and I'm excited that she let me know that her a volunteer lawn care company decided to show up too. So just any help would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Is it BYOK too? Bring your own kids? Because I've noticed kids showing up at these events now.
Yes, BYO, whatever.
Okay. What time? 3 to 5, did I hear?
Yes, August 4th, 3 to 5, Sunday.
Anybody else up here like to speak? If not, my mayor comments are limited to two things. The Spencer mayor is a classmate of mine, Steve Baumgars. We graduated in 1971. His dad was our basketball coach, and I've had several conversations with him since the Spencer flooding. It's awful up there. My little brother's office had 3 feet of water in it, lost a lot of the family heirlooms and files and things like that. But like Marshalltown, they're strong. They're coming along, and with people like our Iowa DOT and our fire chief and our police chief, with that manual that they put together and with the advice I had about how to get a hold of FEMA and figure out how to confirm in writing everything that you learn from FEMA, they'll get through it. And then I've offered that, like happened with the Tupelo, Mississippi mayor who came up here about 6 months after our tornado. I'll take a staff person or two up to Spencer and give them kind of the pep talk about how much nicer it will be 6 years or 10 years after a major event like that, so they get through it if they can. Then the other thing is, when we got here tonight, Alicia handed me a letter from Chuck Grassley, and it's a confirmation that he has contacted Secretary Pete Buttigieg, U.S. Department of Transportation, regarding our active transportation infrastructure investment program application for the trail. So we've had two major events here, one for a federal grant, one for a state grant, and on the federal grant one, we have Chuck Grassley, the longest-serving senator in the U.S. Congress, saying this would be a good project for him. And as I told Jeff Schneider, who's the president of the Trails, Inc., and has been the most involved in getting this done, Sharon and I have to be out in Washington, D.C. for a judges conference this weekend, and I'm going to drop off a packet at his office and with any luck have an audience with Pete Buttigieg. So that's good news, and I'd like to get started with that. At this point, let's go on to a motion to have the consent agenda. One item was removed, and I forgot to indicate which number that was.
Move to approve, Your Honor.
Okay, with the exception of number 2, right? Very good.
Second.
Roll call on that one.
Waddyhoff,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Fonseca, yes. Kell,
Yes.
Very good. Those are approved. You don't have to read them anymore, but let's go to item number 2, which calls for a motion for what?
approve a liquor license renewal for the depot at 114 North Center Street.
Mr. Thompson, I think you were the one that pulled that off the agenda, so we'll ask you to, let's ask for the motion
to approve,
first,
Your Honor.
then a second. There's our
Second.
motion. There's a second. Discussion now.
Thanks, Your Honor. I've been telling people that the police visit this location every day, 365 days a year. I'm here to publicly apologize. I embellished that by 43 days. The police are there 322 days a year. So let's say, just bear with me a minute, let's say that the average stay of one police officer is a half an hour per call, and that's not counting multiple officers being there. So if you take 322 times a half an hour, that's 160 hours, divided by 4 40-hour weeks. So you taxpayers are paying one officer to spend 1 month of his year at that location. Okay? And I'm asking you, is that the way you want to spend your money? To have one officer spend 1 month at that location? So I'm here asking my fellow counselors to deny this liquor permit, and they'll appeal to the state, and I would want our city lawyers to fight this. I've gone on the record saying I believe in root cause problem solving. This is not the root cause, but sometimes you need to attack the symptoms too. There's a problem in that facility, in that the property area right there. So I pulled this to make my case, and I will be voting no on this renewal. So thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Time for discussion by counselors first.
If I may,
You may.
on behalf of the late Al Hoop, I'm going to go with Gary's, and I'm going to vote no on this as well.
Anyone else?
Your Honor, would Police Chief Tupper like to say anything on this? I mean, is this going to solve the problem? Gary, I hear you. But I'm just afraid that the police are going to be going to other places now. So I don't know if this is actually going to solve anything. So I'd like Chief Tupper's analysis.
In Al Hoop's memory, we typically did ask the chief for input on this sort of thing.
Mike Tupper, Marshalltown Police Department. Do I look tan? Just got back from vacation, and so I was kind of shocked that this was being pulled from the agenda. I found out about it very late in the afternoon because nobody called and asked me about it ahead of time. I think we have to understand what a call for service is. And we have to understand that convenience stores, by their very nature, being open for extended hours, attracting a lot of people, we're gonna see calls for services to these types of locations. And I think if you looked at Casey's, if you looked at Quick Trip, you look at Hy-Vee, we go to Walmart multiple times a week, these places draw calls for service. So I don't disagree with Councilperson Thompson that on occasion that there have been issues there, but if that establishment calls the police, that's a call for service. Because they're doing what we ask them to do. They call us to report a crime or ask for help. That generates a call for service. If an officer makes a traffic stop in that parking lot, it's a call for service. If there's a parking complaint there, it's a call for service. If somebody backs into a car in that parking lot, that's a call for service. I am not aware of any liquor law violations. I am not aware of any efforts by the liquor license holder to obstruct investigations or to be uncooperative with law enforcement. So no doubt, we've had a lot of calls to that location. I could give you a laundry list of several others where we have a lot of calls. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't have a liquor license. So if you're wanting my recommendation, and my recommendation means nothing, it's up to you. But as your police chief, I'm not recommending that you deny this application. So I'm not aware of any reason that they should be denied.
Since I'm the only guy that's been here for 12 years after Al Hoop died, I can ask you, there's only been one time I can remember in the last dozen years where you have recommended that we not approve one, and the council voted not to approve it. And that time, it was an owner that had two establishments, both serving liquor, and there had been serious life-threatening assaults at those, and you did not get any cooperation from that owner or his staff. Is that what happened in those?
That's my recollection, too. I mean, we take this very seriously. We're not just rubber stamping. I do look at these. But the state has a pretty strict criteria of when you can deny and when you can't. And I think we have to be careful about when we pull out that card. But, again, it's up to you. My professional opinion is I don't see a reason to deny the liquor license. Happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments by council? Okay.
Thank you.
And time for public comment on this one. Nobody's standing up, rushing to the microphone. Let's call the roll.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
No.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
No.
Fonseca? Yes.
Very good. That one carried. On to item G, reports, and we just have one of those tonight. That's the Library Board of Trustees Annual Report.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Councilors. My name is Tanya Gaffney. I am the Library Board of Trustees President at the Marshalltown Public Library at 105 West Boone Street. I have with me today another board member, Eric Hall. Tonight, we have some staff members, Sarah Rosenblum, Joa LaVille, and Katie Fink, and they are going to give you a presentation of what we've been doing the last couple of years.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Congratulations to our new councilwoman. We look forward to working with you. Sarah Rosenblum, Marshalltown Public Library Director. We're here to present our library annual report, give you an update on youth services, and discuss our mobile outreach vehicle. As you can see by your handout, we're actually reporting on last year. This is because all Iowa libraries report their numbers to the state library in October. We need some numbers back from the state library to prepare our report. If you like, we can come back in November or December with our latest update and then report at the same time going forward. As required by ordinance, we can report on the physical condition of the library as excellent. Most recently, we had the building power washed, exterior power washed for the first time since 2008. Public Works Facilities team and our team take excellent care of the library. A real shout out to the work for our facilities manager. We regularly receive compliments on the building and the services we provide. During the pandemic, we expanded youth programming to the West Lawn, and this has provided for exceptionally well-attended youth programming. We also added the picnic tables that are used on a regular basis. We do have a CIP item for the installation of a new roof-mounted solar panels at the library, but we need to replace our membrane roof first. It would be fiscally responsible to replace this membrane roof as it is coming to the end of its 20-year life cycle. The library will be at the end of the year will be 16 years in the building. By replacing the solar, we would be able to reduce our annual electrical bill down to $3,000 from approximately $45,000 per year. I have been told by finance this would be a 6-year ROI, or return on investment. It would also be in keeping with our first in the state newly constructed Gold LEED certified library when the library was opened in 2008. Again, from the ordinance, we added 6,957 printed items during the year. We removed 4,307 printed items. This is a standard practice to weed a collection, as we call it. Items are removed due to lack of circulation, condition, age of material, etc. We follow the policies in our collection development policy, which we are required by the state to update every 3 years. The library no longer collects fines except for hotspots. Fines and fees, and those include library cards, were $910. $1,186,947 were expended to run the library. So you have your infographic here. I don't know if you have any questions about it. I want to thank Sam and Katie for working on it. Kind of at the bottom, some highlights. You can see that our meeting rooms, and those are small and large, were used by 4,480 meeting times. We had over 12,000 attendees for our 350 children program, over 2,500 attendees for teen programs. We issue about 1,000 new library cards a year. And in this year that we're reporting, we circ'd 232,411 items, and that is print and downloadable materials. And we love the fact that 82.9% of our residents have a library card, and 46.1% were active in the last 3 years. So I don't know if you have any questions about the infographic. And certainly, if there's something else you'd like to know, you can let me know, and I will get it. So I'm going to turn this over to Joa LaVille, Youth Services Manager.
Oh, there we go. Tab. Okay, I'm Joa LaVille. I'm the Youth Services Manager at the Marshalltown Public Library, and I'm just going to give you a little snippet, maybe if I can find the tabs that are on here. So. Do we know where the tabs are? Because we put them on. Oh, right here. Okay. Thank you. I got them. Anyway, I'm just going to give you a little snippet of what's going on now, since the statistics and the infographic kind of goes, is quite seems like a long time ago when we think about how busy we've been. And so I want to show you. I'm going to show you what the product that we use called Beanstalk, which is a software program that tracks our summer reading challenge participants as well as any kind of challenge that we might do. But what I wanted to show you is something called our Insights Dashboard. And I think it's really, as a librarian, data is cool to me. I think it's fun to look at data. And so you see right now at this moment in time, we have 805 participants in our summer reading challenge, and that would include people from babies through 18. So that's all ages of kids. Our challenge is designed. Public libraries have been doing summer reading challenges for many, many years to address the issue of summer learning loss, which has kind of become more mainstream, that everybody agrees is something to address. But so this is what we do to encourage people to be reading and learning in the summer. And so I just wanted to show really quickly that the cool thing about this Insights Dashboard is it shows the different age groups of I don't know if you guys see this on your screen, or can you see it? Okay, but it's really fun to look at. We are talking about, we have 13 one-year-olds, doing this. We have 76 babies and toddlers that are participating in our summer challenge, because the summer reading challenge is not just about kids that can read, it's also about being read to. And as we know, day one is when we want to be reading to kids to do that best brain development. But you can see, we've got the babies and toddlers have a really high number, lots of first graders, that's a great reading age, and you can just see that it's really spread out. And of course, as you can imagine, once you get to junior and senior in high school, the numbers are going to go down a little bit. The other thing that we look at, so we really look at this, it's a good measure for us to be able to go, are we really reaching the community the way that we need to? Are we reaching across the community? So you can also see that besides over here where it talks about schools, we, besides our Marshalltown School District, which we do look at, like which buildings maybe do we need to do a little more outreach to reach, but also lots and lots of area schools that are included. And so GMG, West Marshall, we have a lot of people that our library is their main library, even if they, some of those people live here and open enroll, but other people travel to Marshalltown. It's just a good example of the library as an economic driver as well, because we know that they're coming to they may be planning their trip to Marshalltown, they're coming to the library, doing their summer reading challenge stuff, maybe going to the grocery store, maybe out to eat, they're doing, giving Marshalltown their business. And so you can also see we do have quite a large homeschooled group of students that are participating in our summer challenge, and so we do have a lot of homeschoolers that do rely on the public library throughout the entire year. So does anybody have any questions about this part? And then I just have a fun set of pictures to show you.
Your Honor, if I may. Joe, one of the questions I was going to ask is, what age is, you guys are seeing the greatest attendance with, but it's pretty level. It's all ages.
Yeah.
So that just speaks to what you guys are doing. So I don't need to ask that question. But then my next question is there national data that shows getting these kids engaged in the library at that age? Are they library users their whole life?
Well, that's a question I can look into and get back to you as far as national data, but I can say that, from an anecdotal perspective, this is actually my 25th year of working as the youth services manager, and so I have seen a lot. And actually, I will say, it's very thrilled to be here tonight at Melissa's first council meeting, because she grew up using the library with her whole family, are very strong library users, as I know, lots of you are as well. And so I definitely have seen, especially some of the programs that we do that's to introduce a child to the library. Maybe their parents didn't bring, we do that through the schools a lot of times and then they'll bring their whole family. And once they get connected, I am now, it's one of the greatest joys of my career to be able to continue to see those kids of mine coming in. Like I think any teacher will tell you that that's really a joy to have, to be able to serve kids of kids, And so, I'm sure I can find something to share with you, that shows that nationwide, but I have no doubt in my mind that is correct in our community for sure, so.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Joa?
Yes.
By having these summer reading programs, does that help in some of the knowledge loss that kids experience between, from say going from 4th grade to 5th grade, you have the whole summer off?
Well, that's definitely the goal. And so as I mentioned, summer reading challenges were started years ago, I believe in the 70s, to address the issue of summer learning loss, which has been very well documented. And we know it disproportionately impacts lower socioeconomic groups. And so, part of what we're trying to do is encourage reading, learning. Some of our activity badges are to do with other kinds of learning besides reading, as well as offer enriching experiences. And so that's what you'll see in some of the photos. And definitely, data-wise, as far as proving that that's the case nationwide, there definitely is data that proves that has a very big impact. One of the things that has the greatest impact on kids' reading scores is access to free reading material. And where else do you get the best access to free reading material but the public library? And so that's one of the huge goals that we have when we're partnering with, Tanya at Lenahan, working with the Emerge program where every sixth grader comes once a month. That's a huge goal that we have, is just to have that free access as well as connecting those people to hopefully be lifelong library users. So I'm just going to play this. It's about 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes, and it is just some highlights of this year so far. It's very hard to pick because there's so many cute, so many awesome kids. But this summer we've focused a lot on recycled materials and fun you can have with that, because that was sort of part of the theme. This is Emerson doing STEM activities on the lawn with Lenahan Bobcat U. They've partnered with us the last few years. Somebody doing the Upcycle badge where he made something out of recycled stuff. The Healthy Family Fair, which we partner with CAPS to do a summer Healthy Family Fair, and the bubble stations. And I mean, you want to see joy. Look at this girl's face. Teen volunteers have always been a really important part of summer, and so this was they didn't necessarily know they were going to be holding snakes when they came that day, so they were great sports. Of course, animal programs where kids get to actually sometimes touch animals and learn about animals are always really popular. Another Upcycle. Our parachute, the West Lawn has been just so much fun. We've been getting between 100 and more than 200 people, depending on the Storytime program. This was a magic show. Again, you can just see a lot of joy in the faces of these kids. We welcome everyone at the public library, so case in point, this was our first time of having, I guess, life-size dinosaurs visit for a meet and greet. So we had, 2 different sessions. We knew we couldn't fit everybody in one. That was super fun on a Sunday afternoon, so lots of families that couldn't maybe come during the week. We had some activities for them to do while they waited, because I'm a big fan of not waiting in line a long time. This girl made a rocket ship and her own astronaut helmet up for our we call it Cardboard Kingdom activities. Lots of families, so you can see we do story time kind of like with a blanket or a towel, and then serve summer lunch picnic style. Another teen volunteer helping with painting activity at story time. We've pretty much been outside even if it's been hot, so only if it's actually actively really raining have we gone in. This was a comics guy that's also a guitar. He did 2 programs for us. These are the bedtime buddies. This is the top prize most kids choose for doing their summer reading challenge, and they are 100% donated. They're either donated, they're like new stuffed animals or beanies, or sometimes I get them at, a garage sale or Salvation Army, and we keep them sort of quarantined for a little bit to make sure they're clean, and then we put them out in the summer. So just some other fun reasons, lots of imaginative play opportunities at the library. We see so many people bringing their kids into a place that's free and just relaxing and engaging in imaginative play. More painting walls. We're almost to the end. I think that is the last of the, see if I can stop. So that is what I have for you. As always, I'm always welcome to give tours or to sit down and talk to anybody about specific things they're interested in. But thank you so much for your time and for your support of the library. And thank you to all of you for your service. We really appreciate it.
Your Honor, may I ask her a question?
You may.
Joe, I saw that there were 72 students that listed, my school is not listed. So, yeah.
I should have, so in that data, because we're in the middle of the summer, so people can sign up themselves on the, so they can use an app themselves and do all their tracking themselves, and then when they do the activity badges, there's things they have to turn in. But, so some of that, so when it gets time at the end of the summer and when I do my report to the board in the fall, I will go through and clean up that. And so probably some people, it's because they don't know what school their child's going to go to. There are a lot of other, in terms of people that, maybe their dad lives in Marshalltown and they stay here, or they come to Marshalltown very frequently to see their grandparents, and so they are not listed. And then some of them are things that we will get cleaned up a little bit, where they do probably have a school, so.
Okay, I was just wondering, because thinking about like what other areas they were coming in
Yeah,
from
yeah.
and what's bringing them, to Marshalltown to use the summer reading
Yeah.
program at at the Marshall Library.
Most of those, it's probably that it's a family member bringing them to Marshalltown. But then we are excited. People are often really excited that we don't require anyone can participate in our summer challenge. And so the only requirement is we don't mail prizes. If you want your prizes, you have to come in and pick them up. But otherwise, it's just open to anyone because we do have a lot of people. We have whole families that come and live in Marshalltown from Des Moines in the summer, and that kind of stuff too. So, yeah. Anybody else?
Your Honor, if I may.
Oh.
You may.
Joa, how was the attendance of your program where you integrate the businesses in Marshalltown, where they go to the different businesses? There's a book or something they read?
Oh,
Or they have to go?
the partnership with the downtown. So that was a storybook walk. So that is something we started during COVID with the downtown, with Alicia Fitzgerald in the CBD downtown, to just offer some kind of activity that could be outside. And then it was so much fun that we just kept doing it. And so we call it the storybook walk. And so what happens is Alicia gets the businesses that want to participate, and we find books that kind of go with the business, which is really fun. So there's a cover of the picture book. So, if it's a haircutting place, it'd be something about that, or like for the back wax static, it was about music, And so then they get a scavenger hunt, and they walk around with their family for any time during the month and find the book in the window. And so, yeah, we had more participation than last year. We also had better weather too than last year, but people really enjoy that. It's just a great way. Kids think it's really exciting, and they can do it in a couple sessions if they want to. So
The reason I brought that up is it's not just programs at the library. You guys are
Yeah,
reaching out, and you've got the bookmobile now, so.
Well, we'll talk about that next, I believe. But yeah, partnering is one of our most proud things, and that could be a whole nother program, because we partner with anybody who serves families we partner with. So anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'll try to keep it short. I know that we've been really long, and we appreciate your attention. Sarah Rosenblum, Library Director. I just want to say that Joa mentioned, I firmly believe, and we know because we have to track everybody's address, we know that we serve, I think we have about 15,000 non-resident card holders. This is the way the state organizes public libraries, that you can use any library in the state. And we know lots of people, they'll tell us, but this is my library, but they live in Rhodes, or they live in Tama. And so, of course, we try to work with them for the resources we can provide. Not everything gets provided to a non-resident. So 3 years ago, when the library started the journey to the acquisition of a mobile services vehicle, we were in a very different position with stability of our funding and staffing than we are at this point. While the public use of the library has rebounded to pre-COVID levels, we have had more staffing turnover and changes in the last several months than in previous years, including changes that impact the current workload of our staff. Things that have changed that we would not have anticipated: legislative action that removed the voter-approved library levy, which had been where the funds for the outreach coordinator, which was for the bookmobile, came from. Legislative actions that are heavily impacting cities in Iowa: caps on how much allowable growth cities may capture, property tax relief services that take away from the general fund, which serves city services. So we had no idea that our funding would change so drastically when we acquired Moby. We requested no new funding to expand this service beyond the cost of the vehicle, which was provided by friends, donations, and capital improvement plan. We had plans to build an accessory building totally with the donated funds to house this vehicle. So during the initial trial period, we quickly determined that we would need an additional 2 part-timers to run this service successfully. While we were planning for this service, I think many of you know that I'm a dreamer, and I thought I would come back to council at some point and say, we have this great service, but we need 2 more people to help run it. And I was even thinking that I would go to the county at some point and say, hey, we would love to take it to underserved parts of the county. But we know things have changed drastically, and we are very concerned about the sustainability of Moby.
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
We discussed this briefly before the meeting, and I would be in support of waiting until we get our new CAA and we get a good look at our budget and see where we go with Moby with this before we look to make a decision.
I will tell you, this has been a very hard time for us, and everybody in the city works hard. I cannot tell you how hard my fellow department staff work, my staff, and we just, we also want to be fiscally responsible. I've been a librarian, like Joe said, 24 years. I've been a librarian 40 years, and unfortunately, I've been through a lot of hard times and difficult times. And I am concerned about the future of funding, what does the state have coming for us next? Keeps me up at night. My staff will tell you that. So I would bow to Councilor Ladahoff's wishes, and we're happy to come back, so.
I think that would be wise. Give her a chance to look over everything as it relates overall to our budget and weigh in on it. I think that's only fair to her and to us, actually.
I've been waiting to hear about the Holocaust exhibit, which was a real coup. The universities didn't even get it. We got it.
We did. We were the only library. Burlington will get it in 26, so if you missed it or you want to see it, but again, 10,000 visitors, 31 states, 2 countries, and we were featured by the museum in their literature to their major donors. So I don't think any other library was featured. And as far as I can tell, we may have had the highest attendance in the country. They haven't outright told me that, but I know that there were libraries that had only like 600 people come. I want to thank my staff. I want to thank all of you. I want to thank the volunteers. I was looking at the pictures the other day of, it took us a whole day to put it up, came down a little quicker, and I just want to thank everybody that helped with that.
The other thing we haven't heard about tonight, but I'd brag about every time I get a chance, is the award that we got, which was the top national award for a library in this country.
I still brag about that too. 2013, first library in Iowa. I like these first. That we were the first library to be awarded in the National Medal for Service. Again, it's the story of our library. It's the story of our community. And I think that, we have an outstanding library. I have a friend here from Newport Beach, California, very wealthy community. She has been blown away by the quality of our library. We worked together as librarians a few years ago, and she has been honest in telling me she did not expect to see the library that we have here. So, anyways. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me, or if there's things that I need to discuss with my board president or staff, please let me know.
Very good. Thank you. On to resolutions. What's our first one?
Resolution 2024-169, approving the preliminary and final plat for the Freedom Hills First Edition and accepting the dedication.
Move for approval.
Second.
Discussion. Crickets. We've seen this before, right? Not if we don't need one. It depends on who's going to win tonight. I think you're earliest. She's in the middle. I'm at the end. We could drag it on. I could win. Anybody want to report on this one? It's in our packet. We know what we're talking about. Anybody want to comment publicly about this one? Jim?
Jim Shaw, 522 North 2nd Street. Where is it that we're talking about? I haven't got a clue.
It's the VA clinic, near the VA clinic, right?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep. I drive out there, and I take a lunch on the weekends and drive out there and just park and look at what's going to be developed. It's pretty cool out there. Let's call a roll.
Thompson?
Yes.
Fonseca? Yes. Kell?
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Very good. That carried. On to ordinances. We have 2 of those. What's our first one?
Public hearing and ordinance 15089, approving the rezoning of Creekside Lane from mixed use to medium residential, second reading.
Okay, I'll declare the public hearing is open at 6:19 p.m. Did you receive any written comments about this one at the clerk's office?
No, Your Honor.
It is time for public comment, which always seems weird because it comes before staff review or council comments. Any public comment on this one? Rarely does that happen. Time for staff review.
Move for approval.
Too early on the motion, but we are looking at maybe waiving the other readings because we've already addressed this one. What's that? You want to? Sure, go ahead.
Sure. This is the second reading for this particular rezoning. The developer was established in '21. That developer has since sold this parcel that has been redesigned, and the redesign process would require that it be rezoned. And as a result, it went through the Planning and Zoning Commission, as well as scrutiny by the city and county to make sure that the zoning was appropriate for this area. We are asking that the next reading of the ordinance be waived simply because of the delay that we had. Nobody can hear me. Thank you, Heather. We're asking council to waive one of the readings for this particular development, as there has been some staffing delays with vacancies and so forth. And so we would appreciate the due diligence on this.
Okay, now it is time after staff review for council comments. Any council comments up here?
Your Honor, if I may?
You may.
It recently has been brought to my attention that this developer owes a business owner in town a substantial amount of money, and I don't want to give him a green light to develop this land if he's going to use local resources in town and put those businesses at risk. My loyalty is to the businesses of Marshalltown, so I will be voting no tonight. If he makes good on a past due bill, then I can turn around and vote yes at a third reading, but I'm not in favor of waiving the third reading either. Thank you, Your Honor.
We don't want to get into any illegal debt collection practices, but does anybody else up here have any other comments? I'll declare the public hearing is closed on 6:21 p.m. and call for a motion.
Move to approve, Your Honor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Let's call the roll.
Mitchell?
No.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
No.
Fonseca? Yes. Kell?
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
That carried. Is there a motion to waive the third reading?
I'd make that motion, Your Honor.
Second?
I'll second that.
Roll call on this one.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
No.
Fonseca? Yes. Kell?
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
Mitchell?
No.
Very good. That is waived as well. On to the second ordinance. What is that one?
Ordinance 15090 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa, Chapter 157, Land Subdivision Regulations, first reading.
Move to approve, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on this one. We're going to have to start adding in who's going to take the lead on some of these things to speed it along.
It's the same topic.
Okay. But then explain it to the people out there in the public and the people that think I know what we're talking about.
Okay, because we have to have three different readings, the council has just voted to waive one of those readings and is now going to be taking it up for its final reading.
No, we're on the next ordinance now. This is first reading of Chapter 157, subdivision.
John, did you want to come and speak to this?
I'm John Boston. I'm the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Gary, I'd like me to have you tell us your address too.
Oh,
Even though
1710
when you have a title
Rainbow
like that,
Drive.
you shouldn't have to do that. But, sorry.
1710 Rainbow Drive.
Thank you, John.
The code changes you're seeing brings this code into alignment with what the city's basically doing now. What it allows is, for example, the mall has 4 businesses in the front of the mall. Those are on individual lots. They don't have access to a street by themselves. So this brings some language in the future, if that would ever be established again, that there would be some things that they would have to record with their title to their properties, that they know that the city's not going to maintain them for them, fix potholes, plow snow, that type of thing. Another example is the McDonald's that everybody's familiar with. It has access through the Get and Go filling station. Similar situation. The new Arby's that's being built is the same situation. Let's see. The Park Place that you're familiar with that is south of the Capon and Brown HVAC facility out there, that's 16 and a half acres, all one owner, one lot, and it's got 40 houses on it, and it's all private street. This would still allow that, but it would not allow that same establishment to have 40 individual lots with private streets. So one of the things this requires is that flood retention ponds. I discovered from Heather's comments, and the planning and zoning discovered, that technically you could establish a flood retention pond like was on the Freedom Hills established plat, and if they didn't pay the taxes on it, it would come back to the city. And so we put language in there that says that has to be tied to one of the other lots with easements and affidavit of non-severability. The final thing that we did was, I don't know if you've noticed over the last few years, but I've noticed in the years that I've been on planning and zoning that a large majority of the plats come through like they did tonight, where you're getting the preliminary and the final at the same time. And so we put some language in there that says, give the city staff, planning and zoning, and the city council a chance to go through the preliminary plat, and then 14 days later, after it's approved, they can submit the final plat, unless it's something really simple like a lot split. So anybody have any questions? That's all the comments I have. So
Thank you very much, John.
thanks.
Thank you. You know we're looking for a planning and zoning person. How many years have you been doing this?
44.
44. Wow. Wow. Thank you. Okay. Time for comment up here. Time for comment out there. Roll call.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Mitchell,
No.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Fonseca. Yes. Kell,
Yes.
Very good. That carried. On to discussion items. I guess I can read those. Request for development agreement from Freedom Hills Project. Who wants to open that one? Staff review? Okay.
This is associated with the Veterans Clinic. They've gone through a number of different reiterations of getting that clinic built in compliance with the standards of the VA administration at the federal level. The VA was the one that chose this site, and now that the site is being developed, the developers are coming to the council with a formal request for reimbursement of up to not to exceed $800,000 over the next 5 to 10 years based upon that parcel alone. In order to do this kind of thing, they needed to make a formal request to you, and as they are out of state, we ask that it be in writing. So that's what is in your packets. This particular developer is also the owner of Freedom Hills Development and would use it not only for reimbursement for some of their expenses on the Veterans Clinic, but also on development of the rest of the parcel that we've just gone through the action of accepting.
Thank you. Okay, the floor is open for discussion up here.
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
So Cindy, dollar-wise, this is going to cost the Marshalltown taxpayers $250,000, give or take, to do this, correct?
Because of the allocation that is possible with the other taxing agencies, that would be correct.
But again, this is simply on the increase in value of the property, and it will be one of the parts of the process to get this done would be to amend the urban renewal plan, which would indeed have a consultation with the other taxing agencies so everyone's aware of what's going on and what burden it may or may not have, because it does impact some of the funding for the county, for example. And there is also a clause that would be in the developer's agreement, which we would bring back to you for your review and approval later, which would say that if there is any future legislation that would curtail the city's ability to do this rebate, then the contract would be null and void. And the developer is very aware of this situation, because we did delay it this year to come to the council because we didn't know what 718 impact was going to be on urban renewal as drastically as it was on urban revitalization.
So what it comes down to is, if we proceed with this, we are going to, for the city, we're going to give up an $250,000. I don't know how to say this, immediately, over 5 or 10 years, or we're going to put it off. I mean, yeah, I guess our general fund has a hole in it, and this money would go to the general fund, if I'm correct. And so we're just giving away $250,000.
Gary, I think where your logic's breaking down is you're assuming that they're going to build this if they don't get this money. If they don't get this money, there's going to be a lot.
Oh, it's already built. This is the VA clinic.
The VA clinic is going to be used as the increment to generate the new property taxes. However, we have the commitment from the developer, and you saw that in your letter, that it would indeed encourage them and incentivize them to continue developing the adjacent lots. There's more than the 2 lots. I think there's 3 plus the.
It's the clinic plus 3 lots.
Right.
Right.
It's the clinic plus 2.
Your Honor, may I?
You may.
Cindy, do we know what they are kind of wanting to do with those adjacent lots yet?
The information that they have given to the city, and I believe is through your packet as well, is that it is going to be a recruitment for retail in that area, as well as a possibility of residential in that area. So the zoning and so forth is compatible with both of those ideas.
Okay, and then La France Lane would be then extended and all that, right? Or something.
The caveat that was put into the developer's plating is that it would be developed if they would develop the southwest corner, because they would have to have access to that parcel in that manner.
Okay.
Other comments or questions up here? Public comment?
If I may, good evening, Mayor and Council. So I've been engaged in this conversation since it began, and to be clear, we've been through 2 permanent city administrators and now 2 interim city administrators since this conversation began in 2022. And so I apologize how long it has taken to get to this point, but these developers have really operated in good faith with our community, because they were kind of promised some assurances up front from city administrators that we would bring this forward under the principle that really we were looking for larger development here. And so the rationale around the way that this development agreement is proposed is to saddle the VA clinic with ultimately the infrastructure improvements necessary to provide for the lots, the other adjacent lots to be development ready. And so the deployment of utilities through the private street infrastructure, which I know has now been reduced to 2 additional lots, but I think there is some additional conversation and potential in the future to come back as the original platting had intended, which would provide for 4 additional lots. So 3 additional lots of similar size to the VA clinic up along that private street, and then a larger parcel to the south. So the utility deployment and the private road infrastructure deployment, as well as oversizing of the stormwater retention pond, was all done intentionally in an effort to try to saddle the VA clinic development with the development burden costs of getting that land ready for development, to keep the land prices low and highly competitive so that development could happen rapidly along that area. And so in the conversations that we've had, I know additional adjacent medical facilities like the VA clinic are something that they've actively been pursuing. I know we've heard retail has been considered in that area. And then to the south, we've been in active conversations on multifamily housing down there. This is zoned commercial, which does allow for multifamily residential in the area. And so those have been the active conversations that have taken place with this developer. Again, the guidance through city administrations has been to wait to bring this forward to you all. And so I am here apologizing that this has not been in front of you sooner, but to assure you that those developers have been operating in good faith with the intention of always doing more development here in our community, and that this has been an active and ongoing conversation to try to pursue additional development for our community instead of just a single lot development, which could have been what they pursued, where it just had a drive in off of East Merle Hibbs. They deploy the infrastructure simply to the VA clinic, do a little stormwater retention pond on site, and then leave the rest of the land as it sits in perpetuity effectively. But they wanted to prepare this land for additional investment in this area, and that's the real rationale behind why the development agreement is the way it is proposed. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
John, I'm not going to hold you to it, okay? Can you give me a guesstimate on the amount, money amount in development that we could see in that area?
Oh, I mean, the VA clinic alone, I think estimated cost was about, well, $5 million. Yeah, I don't know. Was there development? The $800,000 was additional development costs above and beyond what it would cost to just develop that lot. So, you know, if you take that $5 million and deploy it out 3 more times, if they have those 3 lots up there, and then a multifamily housing to the south is probably in the $10 to $12 million range. So, I mean, we're talking $25 to $30 million in investment is you know, probably on the high end of what we're looking at in that area. The VA clinic is very, very nice. So it is there was no expense spared on that. So
thank you.
And just for the record, you're John Hall. You're the
I apologize,
the
John
Chamber of
Hall
Commerce.
with the Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce, 34 West Main Street.
Thank you, John. Other public comment? All right, is this the time where I ask whether staff wants direction on how to proceed?
Yes, we'd like a motion to bring forward a development agreement for this project.
And to go forward with the amendment to the urban renewal plan.
Okay, floor is open for a motion to proceed with the project and amend the development plan. Is there such a motion?
I'll make the motion, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
We've already called for public comment and comment up here. Let's call the roll.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
No.
Fonseca?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Very good. That carried. Staff has direction. That really is a pretty clinic out there. I'm not kidding. It looks like it's ready to go any minute. I mean, we're going to have an open house and ribbon cutting soon, right, John? You're shaking your head yes for those that are home, can't hear. Okay, thank you. And our next discussion item is the request to purchase an alley between 406 and 408 West Madison Street.
Yes, Your Honor, the city received a request to vacate the north-south alley between 406 and 408 West Madison Street. LIF Enterprises owns both of these properties. He would like to block the alley off at the T intersection. There are two other property owners in this alley that do not require driveway access to this portion of the alley, and they have signed off on this request also. I've also spoken to those property owners. They are both brothers, and they are also potentially interested in vacating the east-west alley, which would come forward as a separate discussion. But Heather Thomas can provide some information on the utilities.
Good evening, Heather Thomas, Public Works. So the alley that we're talking about on your screen is the north-south portion of the alley, which currently is a T. We did an Iowa 1 call. We know that Alliant Energy is in this alley as overhead. We also can visually see there's telecommunication companies. We believe it's Mediacom, although Mediacom does not respond to the city's request to confirm that it's their utility. So if the council does proceed to move forward with vacating the alley, we would ask that the vacation includes an easement retained for both Alliant and Mediacom. As far as the street department goes, there's no objection to vacating this portion of the alley.
Okay, discussion up here.
Your Honor, may I?
You may.
Heather, is LIF Enterprises, are they wanting it all the way, they're all the way down, and the two adjacent owners are okay, or are they going to want to split it there? Or how are they were here today, Eduardo Monje and Anibal Monje?
Yes, so initially the owner on both sides of the alley here, their property currently does stop where my mouse is. When Alicia talked to the owners of these two parcels, they asked if they had interest in purchasing this portion of the alley. They did not, and so we would allow the owner of these two to own it all the way to the T. What we don't want from a city street perspective is to have this little chunk of T that we would not be able to get in and maintain. So we would need the entire portion of the T alley vacated to recommend moving forward.
Okay, I'm just wondering, because I think that maybe having an interpreter explain a little better, because it might seem like, because the lot would be kind of, funny looking a little bit if, all the way down, and, but, okay, thank you.
Your Honor, if I may?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I've recently been down through that alleyway twice. The property owner, which is 406, has multiple cars in the backyard right now that are non-operable. Grass has been growing up around them. So my concern would be that he would continue to be put in the position of putting junk back there. Secondly, my concern would be that he would push the snow to the east-west alleyway, which would make it difficult for our city to remove with the pickups that they have. So I would have to vote no for this. Not only that, but if he does pass, then we'll have to bring Mr. Farley's back too, because we need to be equal across the board.
Heather, you might be able to address what the issues were with the last time we didn't vacate an alley compared to this one?
Correct. At the previous council meeting, city's direction was a recommendation not to vacate that alley. The reason for that is because the city had a large diameter storm sewer through that alley. That was part of the reasoning for that. Additionally, that was creating a dead end or an obstacle for street division to remove snow and maintain an alley. This one here is not creating that obstacle, and that is the reason for the difference in our recommendation.
Other council comments or questions? Public comment?
Linda Clark, 306 South Second Avenue. I wanted to ask the following question, Heather. Does this mean when the alley would be vacated and the person would get that property, then they would be paying property taxes on that alley and maintaining it, shoveling the snow, just like Mr. Mitchell had said about junk cars and stuff being piled up? And this is what I am kind of concerned about with those kinds of things. And I remember when the other issue came up, it was said, well, he didn't like people, going down and riding their things through and then it'd be his. See, this is where I think it's kind of opening up a can of worms in a way, because I have an alley behind my house, and I think it's opening up a can of worms. I really do. I don't think it's a good thing. But someone else said, well, put it on the property tax and let the people that get it have to pay the taxes. But then the city would have to be, wouldn't they be responsible to, just like Mr. Mitchell said, about the junk cars? And we don't have hard copy now. I remember coming to City Hall and I could look at the ordinances, the zonings, and see, and the rules. We don't have that anymore. We can't come to City Hall. We can't go to the public library. I can't look at the rules, hard copy, like I used to. I'm not a computer wizard. But some of these things that are coming up, I think, are just starting to open a can of worms. And just like the last issue about commercial, industrial, and residential used to be what I knew. Now we have different degrees on residential, and I don't understand all of that. So, but anyway, that's what I wondered, just his question, and if that goes on the tax roll, and how much of a pain in the hiney it will be.
Yeah, so I've done my best to outline in blue on the beacon map in front of you what would become the new property boundaries if this alley was vacated. So that would all be part of a private parcel, and it would be on the tax rolls. It would be up to the property owner whether they would continue to maintain a drivable access all the way south to the east-west alley. In my memo, I did include pictures that we went out to take of the existing alley. You could say that this one is definitely a lower traveled alley, especially as you get down to the south end. So again, that would be the property owner's call. Whether they would maintain that as an alley and push snow and clear the entire alley. There's currently no other garages or back property access from the alley, so there would be no reason to maintain the south end of this picture. But again, that would be a property owner's choice. So
Go back to this map. The two properties to the south aren't landlocked. They still have access from the streets.
they have access, both street and alley access.
Your Honor, if I may, go ahead. Heather, just for housekeeping, they're not looking to make 406 the alley and 408 one lot. This alley will attach to one or the other. Is that correct?
I would need to defer to Alicia, or it looks like maybe we don't know the answer to that. It would not be allowed to stay the same.
They didn't say that they would be combining anything.
So this would be a separate lot then, that they could sell off later?
The alley would have to be combined with one or the other, yes.
It has to be. That's
Correct.
part of our rules. It has to be combined either 406 or 408, correct?
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it would be.
Okay, thank you.
We agreed to sell the alley pending them cleaning up what needs to be cleaned up.
The requester did advise that he had been having problems with people going and dumping stuff back on that lot, and that was one of the reasons why he wanted to close the alley.
Your Honor?
Yes.
It sounds like maybe we have two adjoining landowners that maybe didn't have the greatest understanding of what's being requested. I think before we make a decision, we need to make sure those two landowners are fully aware of what's being proposed and what we're deciding.
I can contact them and set something up with have an interpreter present.
Yeah, I had actually one of them was a past client of mine, and I had reached out to him because I saw his signature on there, and he had let me know, no, it's only going to be till where our lot meets, and then not all the way north to south. And that's what he had told me, so I invited them here today, but they left before they could say something. But yeah, I don't think they understood fully.
Okay.
Why don't we table this one until they've had a chance to get that discussion and know exactly where the line is going to be drawn here as it is.
Your Honor, for me?
You may.
Yeah, I would encourage each one of the city councilmen to drive down there, and it's more than just people dumping stuff. It's vehicles that have been there for a long time. And that's one of our code problems in this town that needs to be addressed.
Other comment up here or out there? Otherwise, anybody wish to suggest staff, give staff any direction?
I would support, I would make the motion that we table this until we're sure that adjoining landowners understand what's being proposed and passed.
Since it isn't really, this is a weird one because we've started to use motions in the discussion phase, but it's typically just a motion to direct staff to do something. I think it isn't a formal motion to table because that one's going to require a supermajority to come off of the table. Well, or maybe it'll fail for.
So I just suggest that we table it until.
I think we understand. Does anybody object to letting staff have further discussion with the owners and coming back to us with a more concrete proposal? Hearing no objection, that's staff direction.
Thank you.
And, oh man, if I delayed this 2.5 minutes, I'd win tonight, but I think Cindy's going to win. We're adjourned at 6:51. Oh, that was close. I thought you were 6. Oh, you said 6:45? Oh, no, you win. Sorry. Okay, you were 6:30. I had you backwards. I thought you were 6:30, you were 6:45, and I was 7.